Okay, take it
Right.
away.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, realtors of all kinds, Los Angeles, South Bay, here we go. Good morning, Keller Williams.
You can go
Today,
mute.
I have a very, very special guest. Her name is Lauren. You guessed it, Baker. All right, so if you guys have caught up to my trend, I'm basically taking all the top producers from around the world with the last name Baker, and this is yet another sister from another mister of mine. So this is Lauren. She is out of KW Cleveland. She's built a team over the last 10 years in real estate, was named one of Cleveland's magazine's top real estate agents, and she is our special guest today who is taking the time out of her busy day to come spit some knowledge about what she does to be so successful in today's real estate market. So, Lauren, welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you for being a
Thank you.
guest on today's Producers Club.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, so why don't you tell the folks on here just a little bit about you, and what got you interested in real estate and what made you so successful so quickly.
Okay. So I got into the business back in 2013. You talk about rock bottom of your life. I kind of had hit a rock bottom and had a little bit of a come to Jesus moment in a hotel room in St. Louis when I was traveling for work in the corporate world. Thought, what do I want to do? I have no idea. But at the time I couldn't, my $1,000 a year. Didn't know the market. I was looking into either professional staging or organizing. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? So I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know the market. So I happened to do some research, came across real estate. And what the crazy thing that happened is my classes were going to take me 3 weeks to take and to get my license in Ohio at the time. And I had to work. So all of a sudden, probably a week or two later, I got called in. They let me go. They had moved all the production out of the office and moved it out of the country. So they had eliminated some positions, and mine was one of them. So I thought, oh my gosh, if this isn't a calling, here we go. So literally went and took my real estate license or classes and had my license by October of that year.
Awesome.
So
Wow.
that's kind of how I got into it.
That's crazy. I mean, yeah, just letting the universe guide you to one of the craziest
Yes,
industries that you can possibly join.
for sure.
So, so what, tell me, when it comes to, that coming to Jesus moment and then getting your license and, being in that industry for over a decade now, what could you say right now in 2024 after so many different hurdles we've experienced in the last decade, what makes this industry so like exciting for you to this day? Like what
Mm.
still after all this time compared to that last industry you were in gets you up every single morning and says, I love what I do?
Okay. Couple things. One, I would say that I love being my own boss. I didn't like going into the corporate world and putting in my time. And so now I feel like I have control of my time and my income isn't capped.
Right.
So that's one of my huge, for me personally, I feel like if I had to go back and do a 9 to 5 job, I failed. So I went into this with an I can't fail attitude and I don't have a choice and I have to figure it out. And this real estate journey has also now transformed into a huge personal growth journey in the process. And so it's one of those things where we're constantly working on ourselves to be better.
Yeah.
And now I'm to the point where it's not about me anymore. Now it's how can I impact others and how can I help other people? So
I
I
love
think
that.
that's the driving factor in it.
I love that. That's actually a really good answer. I mean, because you're coming from care and candor and the fact that you can change lives and help people and not have to worry about, who to report to, because I mean, the people that you report to are the people that you're taking care of, your clients. And I think that's a
Mhm.
really humble way to look at things, when it comes to all the challenges that we have in real estate and, just the market trends, because we know we're in the most fluctuating industry that pretty much is out there. So how do you stay on top of like market trends and changes that could impact your buyers and sellers? And how do you stay so positive during some of the most difficult times?
Yep. So one of I would say is through the process with the personal growth journey. And then I also went through a divorce back in 2020. So I think you really have to go inward at that point. So I really got into the yoga and the meditation and the journaling and all of that side of things. And then I think at that point you realize that it's an internal job. And then also, I would say that staying on top of everything. So I really learned to take my emotion out of the process. So when a deal starts to fall apart, it's like, okay, why is this falling apart? Because it's not meant to be, because there's something better. Is it this or something better? Or is there something that we can work through to make it work? So then it becomes asking those good questions to find out what does the client genuinely want, to make sure that we're making those right decisions and providing them with all of the information that they need to make their best decision for them.
Absolutely.
So does that make sense? I guess I kind of got sidetracked a little bit.
No, no, it does. Absolutely. I mean, I love that you said that, you know, and the funny thing is too, right now we're in the middle of teaching Ignite at our office. I don't know if you've ever taken that. And one of the things that I was very curious about, especially with, you know, what you just said, one of the things that we teach in Ignite, which I'm sure you know, is, you know, defining your value, right? So being you, right? What do you think sets you apart from all of the real estate agents, at least in your area, in terms of, you know, the way you approach your clients? You know, what sets you apart in the sense that, you know, defines you as you're the agent of choice versus maybe someone else?
I would say because we genuinely care at the end of the day. At the end, it's not about me and it's not about, it's really genuinely about our client and what's best for them. So my job is really just to provide them with the most information and walking them through the process and letting them know what their options are for them to make their best choice. And then as far as having the knowledge behind it, so we actually coach with Glover U. I don't know if you've heard of do you guys know Jeff?
We do. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Jeff
So
Glover.
Kathy Schweizer is actually my business coach, that I coach with. And Kathy she's absolutely amazing. But one of the things that I love about the Glover U industry is, or their whole business, is they've taken the skills. And so we went back and we honed in on our skills, because we're not back in 2020 where it was you would walk in a house and say, great, how much over are you asking for this? And by the way, you have to make a decision in 15 minutes. Now we're genuinely getting back to what are our scripts? So pretty much every day I'm writing a script out, I'm chanting a script. I actually role played with somebody with Larry in Texas today. I did Jeff Glover 75 or 76 hard. I don't know if you're familiar with this that they did. It's 76 days of genuine activity. So it was listening to his SLS. It was script practicing, writing the scripts, chanting the scripts, having different script partners every day, lead generating for your hour and a half to 3 hours every day, going on social media, doing this, doing that. And it's the daily activities that we have. So once you get those skills, you can then provide that service to your client at a high level because you know what to say and you know what to do and you got it.
I love the enthusiasm behind, you know, what you're saying. I mean, it's like you're going through real estate boot camp, but you're like, it's fun though, because it's actually pushing me to a level where like I just it allows me to succeed, but it's like it's not you make it sound, I'll be honest, you make it sound really easy because of how much passion and joy you have doing the work that's gonna, you know, show the results that's gonna make you successful over time. Which I think is almost rare in most realtors. You know, a lot of people don't want to have the accountability, or they don't like the pressure, or they don't like feeling uncomfortable. It's almost like, you know, it excites you to get up and, I mean, just like, okay, well, what do we got in today's 76, right? Like that's actually really
And
cool.
I'll be honest, so 76 hard. So I actually sat at the summit when they announced it. And I thought to myself, there is no way I am doing this. And I had actually wrote it off. I said, I'm not doing it. And then the day that it went live, like probably 5 or 10 of my friends were on it. They're like, oh, dude, 76 hard. So I hopped on our mastermind call or on our group chat. And I was like, should I do it? They were like, yes, you should do it. So I kind of got suckered in. And I would say that this past year, the skills that we have needed to succeed in the business because of the market changes that we've had since COVID, it's like a non-negotiable. You almost have to get back to the skills.
Yeah.
You have to get back to the basics.
I see. I love that because, you know, when it comes to, you know, it actually leads me to my next question. When it comes to some hurdles, right? Obviously, like you're taking on the challenge and you're like, bring it on in, you know, obviously with today's real estate environment and temperature, it's been a little difficult for some of the agents, but it's like, it seems like you're like, you know what, we'll bring it on. But when it comes down to that mentality, obviously there's still going to be some hurdles. What are, give me an example of some of the hurdles you've dealt with recently, especially with the whole NAR thing, and what you're doing to overcome that, and just stay positive and work with your buyers and sellers about that change.
Yep. So we really tapped into the whole Glover U system, to be honest with you. And Jeff actually wrote all the NAR scripts for you. If you actually log into Glover U, there's a whole free resource section where you can actually grab Jeff's scripts on what he's saying to buyers and sellers. So
That's
I've
awesome.
actually written those scripts out multiple times, and I've been through them multiple times. So as far as with the NAR changes, I'm actually not getting a lot of pushback from it at this point. Because what we've done is we go in and we just say, hey, are you familiar? Have you heard anything about the new changes that are happening in our real estate industry? I have some people, yeah, I've heard something, but I don't really know what's going on, or no, I haven't heard anything. And then it's okay, great. So this is this is what's happening. What you're paying isn't changing. How you're paying may be changing. Let me explain. Or do you mind if I explain? And then I just go into how it used to be and how it is now, and what the benefits of it are for them in that moment. And then what I'm finding that is, because we've always done a buyer consultation as well, the buyers aren't giving me pushback on it. They're saying, okay, I understand, but can you just let me know what that looks like when we go to write an offer or when we go to look into a house? Absolutely. So I'm more than happy. Before we even walk in, I can tell you, do we need to have seller concessions? Do we not need seller concessions? Are they offering it? Let's get with your lender and here's how we're going to handle it. And they're like, oh, okay, I got it. So I feel like those upfront conversations though are so important to future pace our clients so they know what to expect going
I
forward.
agree. I agree. And you're staying proactive too. And, I love that you're informing them on both sides and showing like, here's what's before, here's what's after, but here's how it benefits you. I think that's a really
Yes.
good approach. When it comes down to, buyers and sellers, who do you think you work with the most, or is it kind of split down the middle?
I'll be honest, sellers.
Sellers? Okay.
Sellers all day.
Okay.
Yep.
You, you
I
like
would be fine
taking
if I never
control.
walked back into a house again, to be honest with you. Although what's funny is that I will take a buyer out and then I'm like, oh, okay, this is why I liked it, because it's fun.
Yeah.
This crazy stuff happens when we go look at houses, right? So I
Right.
feel like that's time to just really bring out your personality and their personality. And then when something crazy happens, you're like, oh yeah, okay, remember when this happened? And then it builds that relationship and it builds the rapport.
I love that. So when working with sellers, since you seem to be doing that, how do you determine pricing strategies for properties, and what factors do you consider? I mean, obviously comps are going to be a very big part of that, but what do you do to convince? Because let's be honest, we've all dealt with that buyer that wants to disagree and thinks that their house is worth a certain amount when it's like, oh well. What do you do in circumstances like that, and with all your other sellers?
So part of our listing presentation, we go through why pricing is so important. Because at the end of the day, it's going to come down to pricing and it's going to come down to condition. Because anybody will buy anything for the right price.
Yeah.
So from there, when we run our comps, we then have them, we actually physically hand them the comps. And then we go through them and we say, our goal today is to find out which one of these is the closest to yours. And then they'll go through and they'll compare. And I'll go, okay, great. Now I already have an idea of what I believe we can list your house for. After seeing this, what number do you think we should list it for? And it's interesting. A lot of times they're usually pretty right on, or if they're a little bit higher, that's okay. The other thing that I do, so we have showing time in Cleveland. Showing time allows us to run a report that shows the price ranges that people are searching in. So I'm sure you guys have a much higher price point than we do. My average price point is 250,000. So I basically I break a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
I tend to break things down in $10,000 increments, where I would assume you would probably break yours down in $100,000 or $200,000 increments. And so what I'll do then is I'll say, okay, so a house that's priced between, let's just say 250 and 300. We're seeing that people are getting more activity at the 250 or a 249 price. So even though I think we might be able to list for 255 or 260, or maybe, I'll say, well, we're getting the most activity here and there's not many buyers in this section. So
Right.
then from there, I can say, okay, so if we price it here, we're actually going to throw ourselves into a bigger pool. And then generally we can create that auction effect. And then from there, we're actually generating more money for us, for the sellers as well. And we're getting those auction effects.
That's really awesome.
And in our pricing too. So we're actually future pacing our clients before we even list the property. And what I mean by that is, so let's just say, okay, I think we should be listing at a 250, but they want to list at a 265. Okay, great. I'm willing to try the 265 with you. And according to the National Association of Realtors, who tracks statistics, they tell us that 10 showings and no offers, or 2 weeks without a showing, the market's telling us we're overpriced. So we can price it wherever we want to. However, the market's going to tell us where we actually need to be. And an appraiser also needs to agree with us on this. So if we go live, oh, the other thing too is we're very systematized with our listing process. So Mondays and Tuesdays are photography days. Wednesday is our listing prep day. We go live on Thursdays. We let that showing roll through the weekend, regardless of whether it has offers or not. And we have now added into all of our listings that the Lauren Baker Group strives to have quality family time or something along. I could probably send it out if you needed it, with the exact verbiages. So
Yeah.
any offers that we received on Sunday will be reviewed on Monday. So we've actually put it in our broker's notes that we're no longer working on Sundays.
Wow.
And we tell our clients that up front. So I'm not negotiating any offers on Sundays anymore.
I love it.
All off. So then I tell the client that, okay, we're going to review any and all offers on Mondays. And if we don't have any offers by Monday, we're going to be talking about a price improvement and we're going down to the next bracket. Because people are generally pre-approved, and for us, it's like hundreds, 25s, 50s, 75, but they search in $10,000 increments.
Right.
So at that point, then if we're listed at a 265 and we're getting activity and we don't have any offers, or we're not getting any activity at all, the market's telling us we're overpriced. And we need to make sure we're jumping down to that next bracket of people to bring a whole new pool in. So
Wow.
we're having these in-depth conversations up front. In fact, we listed one that I knew was $25,000 overpriced. I think I had one showing over the weekend. The client called me on Monday and he's like, we have to reduce, don't we? I said, yeah, we do. He's like, do it.
Wow. Well, it's like it's almost like you knew my next question, which is how you set the standard. But the fact that you have a systemized system to allow yourself the freedom to enjoy life, I think is one of the most brilliant things a realtor can do, right? Because I mean, one of the things that I've taught over the years is setting a standard so that you can have the flexibility of being you and having a life outside of real estate. Because I mean, I use optometrists and doctors as an example. It's like if the optometrist is open from like 9 to 5, right, and something happens at 7 p.m., you kind of have to wait till next business day. And I ask people, are you okay with that standard? They're like, well, yeah. I'm like, okay, well then, if you're okay with that standard, why are the clients who accept that same standard to their doctors, why would they be any different with you and your standard on how you set your hours of operation and how you conduct your business? So the fact that
and it's
actually
unbelievable. Go ahead. I'm sorry to
no, I was
interrupt
just
you.
saying the fact that you're actually doing that is just it's almost rare, but it's so exciting, and you can see me kind of geek out hearing that you do that.
And it's unbelievable the amount of realtors that have reached out asking, can I steal this? Absolutely. And I love the fact that you don't work on Sundays, because I have a family gathering today and I didn't want to negotiate this today.
Yeah.
So I'm like, great. And then I give people usually by midday on Monday, just so that way they have some time on a Monday morning if they needed to write an offer or do whatever they needed to do.
That's really cool. So you're setting that standard the second you go in for the first appointment and letting them know that this is how we do things and how we're systematized and how that it's been effective with other clients in the past. That's the coolest thing in the world. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, take note of that. I'm really geeking out with the fact that she's actually using a system, because I'm a high D, high C, right?
Okay.
High C is like, oh my gosh, right? She gets to have her weekends back and enjoy life. That's the coolest thing in the world. So when it comes down to having that time back, having the flexibility to be a top producing agent, have your time back. I know you and I have discussed outside of this call. Looks like you're expanding your brand a little bit, right?
We are, yes.
So tell me a little bit more about that and how you have obviously it's almost a self-explanatory question, but how do you find the time to be able to say have your brand in two places at once? And why don't you tell the folks on here,
Yeah, we're still
where,
figuring
where
all
you're
this out.
at?
Yep. So I'm originally from Cleveland. I run a small team in Cleveland. I actually have my mom and my dad, and we have a full-time executive assistant. We're looking to bring on probably 2 to 3 agents within the next, I would say, 6 months onto the team. And then I had the opportunity to move to Florida. So I actually still have my house in Ohio, and my family's all in Ohio. But myself and 2 of my kids and my boyfriend, we all now moved to Florida. So I start my Florida real estate classes on Monday. I've also connected with the Florida Naples office down here, the KW office. So my plan is to rebrand the entire business, take my name out of it completely, because at the end of the day, I'm at the point where I don't really care if it's about me anymore. I'd rather have a neutral name that can bridge between both locations, and then really start to promote our agents and then build the team in both places.
Oh,
And
that's
then
so
my
cool.
thought is I'm going to bridge the whole thing together through technology. So we'll have our same team standards, but then we'll be, obviously be required to be on Zoom meetings and lead gen time and all of that stuff together.
That is awesome. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Are you nervous about the process a little bit?
Um, yes, because I'm concerned about having a little bit of a lull in Cleveland until we get Florida running.
Right.
So my goal is to have my license by October, and then I'm pretty much going to hit the ground running as well. Because I also have 3 kids in the process of this and my son decided he's in travel baseball. So my,
You got
I
a
might
lot
be
of
spinning a little.
just a little bit. Well, when it comes to your I mean just entrepreneurship, aside from setting that standard, how do you find like your zen in terms of like just being able to, okay, I got the kids doing this, I've got stuff going on in Florida here, I've got Cleveland over there, I've got clients who are relying on me. Okay.
My
So
center.
yeah, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Because I mean, this
Uh,
industry, a lot of people, at least in California, I mean, I've seen a lot of people, jump out of the industry just because it was too overwhelming for them,
mhm.
and you're doing so much, for one person. So how do you find that happy medium and just that zen to be able to say, you know what, I got this, and it's all gonna work out.
Are you familiar with the book, The Miracle Morning?
Yeah, I am actually.
Yep.
More or
So
less.
little bit, yeah. I read Hal's book probably 5 years ago, maybe. And like I said, when I went through that divorce, I really tapped into the yoga and the meditation and all of that. So I generally like to get up early before the kids get up, and I like to have that quiet time just for myself. Um, and then I found a lady on YouTube. Her name is, it's Boho Beautiful is the name of her. So she does yoga and she does meditations. So I do her meditations, and then I usually do yoga in the morning. So whether it's 15 minutes or a half an hour. And then I also picked up, so I read a lot of the Gabby Bernstein stuff. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Gabby. She has a couple books like The Universe Has Your Back and Spirit Junkie, those type of things. Another really great book is The Power of Positivity, which was amazing. But it's really all about having that faith and having that quiet time to just be and breathe. So you could just take that minute to, okay, recenter. It's all going to work out. It's all working in my favor. I trust, I believe this is happening. This or something better, right?
Yeah, you're manifesting it, which I think is awesome.
Yes,
So,
constantly.
well, I mean, in this industry, you kind of have to. I mean, there's
You
so
do.
many different.
You have a lot of faith.
Yeah. So, I'll have one more question, and then before I'll open it up to some of the people on here because I'm sure they're curious, especially about not only the expansion but the Glover University that you're a part of. When it comes down to some of the difficulties, let's be honest. This is probably one that I've dealt with. Agents on the other side of the transaction that may not be as organized as you, that may create conflict conflict or hurdles in your business, how do you successfully navigate around some of the challenges that you are not in control of? And what was an example of a time where you weren't in control, but you were able to bring it back in and help your clients, overcome that obstacle?
Yes. Okay, I will share a story actually.
Okay.
So I think the first one is where I can't control anybody else,
Right.
right? But I can always control me and how I react to it. So when something goes wrong, it's more of, it's not like oh, it's okay. What are our options? What can we do to move forward and how can we make it work? Right. And I feel like and then after we go through this, then it's us sitting down saying, what was our system around this? Right. Because I can't change them, but I can change what we're doing. So, okay, we messed up or this got messed up. What do we have to do now to fix it on our end so this doesn't happen again? And an example that I will have for you is that actually just recently, I think we had 14 pending transactions and I was moving at the same time.
Oh my
So, and I will tell you how bad, I'm going to be totally vulnerable on here. How bad I was losing my mind is that I actually ran into a client at Walmart and was talking to him and then paid for my stuff and pushed my empty cart out. And before I got more than halfway out, realized I left all my stuff at the So then I'm like, he's gone. He's gone. He didn't notice. No, he was standing there grabbing my stuff to come and get me to get it.
So,
So
so what you're saying is sometimes life can get to us because we're human.
yes,
But the
absolutely.
relationships we build allow them to be able to be there for us when we need them as well.
Absolutely. And we actually had an incident where that client actually referred us one of his business partners and a good friend.
Wow.
And they decided they bought a house, but they bought it as a for sale by owner.
Mm.
And I had offered to give her a flat rate commission for us to just handle her side of her buy transaction. And she didn't want it. She was like, no, we're good. They don't want a realtor involved at all. And where we messed up is that we expected her to know the process and she didn't. And so even though we weren't getting paid on that side, we should have done a better job at helping her navigate that process. Because what happened is we had some hiccups with the appraisal. It was a VA loan. We had a couple of hiccups with that and we got delayed. Well, what happened is that she wasn't able to communicate well enough on the other side to get things figured out. So I ended up actually paying out of my commission for their movers, their house cleaner, and what else? Oh, their lost plane tickets because she was moving in on her new home on a Tuesday or a Monday, I think, and wanted the entire house done and put together because they were leaving for vacation on Wednesday and
Oh,
didn't
no.
tell us. And she had a babysitter lined up and concert tickets and everything. And
Oh,
so you can
wow.
imagine the mess that happened. And I haven't had a hiccup like that in years. So for me, it was very humbling.
Oh, I bet.
And then it was actually a really good opportunity for us to go back and say, okay, what does our new system have to look like around this? So this never happens again.
Absolutely. I
So,
mean, most realtors will pull their hair out. I mean, that's
and then I
crazy.
think the hardest part, Chris, was then calling her back after everything to check in to make sure that she was all taken care of. Yes. It was one of those dreadful calls where you're like, okay, we
Oh,
messed
please let
up.
everything be
I
okay.
feel like we messed up bad, right?
Right.
And not accepting any responsibility that they had, but accepting our responsibility in it. And then
Absolutely.
having to call her. And she was fine, actually. She was like, you know what? Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for everything. I'm like, okay.
Oh my, yeah, but you got through it.
We got through it. And, and I even ended it with, I trust that we can still, keep your business through this.
Of
And
course.
I trust that you still, want to work with us.
And what was the
So,
response?
like, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
she was fine. Like, okay.
So,
But we didn't leave them hanging through the process though either. Like we literally did everything that we could to try to fix it.
Right.
and to try to be there through them, even though it was hard.
But you still showed that, look, I'm here for you through thick and thin, and we're gonna do whatever it takes to get to the other side and, continue to see, the optimism and what's going on, even though there's not much to be found. And I think that's really awesome that you were able to guide that situation so positively and professionally. That's what most people don't realize is the stress that realtors have to go through to make the clients happy and to, even have a transaction that's closed. That's why when the whole NAR thing, I was like, do they realize how difficult times can be for us? And you just proved it. It's so but at the same time, it's like once you get through it, and even though sometimes you can have your own hiccups yourself, people are still willing to trust you as long as you're transparent and you're humble and you're honest about it. So I think that's absolutely wonderful. So
And I think everything has to come from love, right? We
yeah,
have to come from love, and we have to come from being genuine and how would we want to be treated through the process. So I'm constantly always looking to improve. I'm always looking to think, okay, how can we have done this differently? How can we do this better? How can the experience be better? And what can we do through, like, what are our checkpoints through the transaction that I can reach out and make those contacts?
100%. That's true care and candor right there. That's awesome. Well, I want to go ahead and open it up a little bit to see if there's anyone on the call. You're amazing, first of all. So thank you for, sharing all those experiences. I see the passion that, it looked like you geeked out with me a little bit as well.
Probably.
So is there any, I just want to open it up to some of the people on the call that might have any questions. Because basically you answered everything that I was going to ask even before. I was like, oh, wow, you were brilliant. So I want to see if there's anyone on the chat here on the call that might have any questions. So it looks like we have a couple. So here's one. What do you do for lead generation?
Yep. Okay. So as far as the lead gen, so if you honestly go into the Glover U, I'm trying to find my sheet right now. If you go into Glover U resources, they have a lead tracker sheet on there. So for my lead generation, I've got Mojo Dialer. So I will hop on, and it varies from day to day and it depends, but I will hop on and I will call expireds. I will hop on and call for sale by owners. Those are going to be your low lying fruit. So if you need immediate business, those are your go-to. And then we're very heavy on the database as well. So as far as the database goes, honestly, if you go into the Glover U stuff, there is a whole database plan in there. I would highly recommend taking a look at that. And then it gives you the daily or the weekly, monthly activities that need to happen for the database. I'm also not afraid to get on a phone and pull 100 properties around and start prospecting. My script is super duper easy when I circle prospect. Hi, I'm calling about 123 Main Street. Is this the owner? Sometimes I get why, sometimes I get no, sometimes I get yes, what can I do for you? Or is there a problem? And then I just basically say, hi, I'm a local realtor. I'm reaching out because I have a buyer that was looking to
This
be
morning's
in.
producer's mindset.
What was
Oh,
that?
looks like someone was
Sorry, I muted him.
okay.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
I've got a buyer who's looking to be in our neighborhood. And I was just curious if you have considered selling your home. I actually got a listing from this,
Really?
from doing that.
That's really cool.
Yes.
That's really cool.
The other thing too that I will say as far as the lead gen, and it took me a long time to get here with this. So as an 8-time Bold graduate, I held a very high standard with my 20 contacts. And what was happening is that I would go to lead gen, and of course, like where I'm like, oh, what, I got this to do, and I'll just like check this real quick. And next thing you know, your time's up and you don't have your 20 contacts in.
Yep.
So I was almost punishing myself every day. And then I would just sit hostage at my computer because I didn't get my lead gen in. And then I was not being productive with my time. So when I talked to Kathy about it, Kathy goes, Lauren, come on, like, okay, let's do this. She said, it's not about the lead gen or the results that you get today. She
Right.
said, it's the energy that you're putting into the daily activity that all of a sudden it kind of all comes together. It's, oh, hey, I bumped into so-and-so at the grocery store and I'm listing their house next week. It's, oh, so-and-so called me out of the blue because they have a house to sell. So what I've really come to the notion of is that yes, be productive in your lead gen, make the calls, do the activities, but the activity leads to the result. It
Yep.
builds energy around it, where all of a sudden oh, this came out of nowhere and came out of nowhere.
Right.
And
That's so
so
cool.
I would say, as far as the lead gen goes, pick a couple things and just do that.
Yeah.
Just do that. Whether it's your expireds, your database, your calls. A really good tip for the database though. So Jeff has a sphere of influence script. So basically it's along the lines of like, hey, Chris, how are you? Hey, Chris, it's your realtor, Lauren Baker. You're like, hey, great. How are you? Wonderful. Hey, I got a quick favor. I was reaching out. We had a goal to help 50 families this year. And I was curious, like, who do you know that's maybe looking to buy or sell that we could help? Oh, I don't really know anybody right now. Okay, great. I really appreciate you taking the time to think about that. My friend Jay actually Fischetti up in Maryland, when we were script practicing me this line, he said, you know what, Chris, studies tell us that you're going to run into most likely 5 to 7 people this year that are looking to buy or sell. When you run into them, can you do me a favor and send me their contact information? And they're like, oh yeah, I can definitely do that. I would be more than happy to refer any business over to you. You did such a great job for us. And what I love about that little tiny line is now I have future paced them that they're going to run into 5 to 7 people that are going to buy or sell real estate in the next year.
That's
And I
so cool.
reminded them to let me know, because if they're anything like me, they'll lose my number. So if you could give me their contact information, that would be wonderful. That way I make sure they're taken care of.
That's really, how's that work so far? I mean, have you gotten anything?
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we get referrals. We get referrals all the time.
Oh,
coming in.
wow. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
ladies and gentlemen, use that script. That's amazing. That's really cool. And
But this is the power of the skills that come in, because if I didn't do the script practice with Jay, I would
yeah,
have never learned that line.
right.
And then I would have been, okay, what do I do with my database? How do I call? What do I say? And
Yeah.
sometimes even with the database, it's as simple as, hey, Chris, you drove by your house the other day and I just wanted to see how you were doing. That's still a contact.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so simple. It's just so simple. That's
Yep.
really awesome. Oh my gosh. Wow.
And with the database too, Kathy and I have an agreement that
Uh-huh.
if somebody is in my database and I leave them a message, it's considered a contact for the day,
Okay. I
because you're
love that.
still making the touch because they already know me, like me, and trust me.
I'll count it. I love
So
it.
that helps.
I see
That
there's
helps a
one.
lot.
No, thank you. That was like, wow, that was really amazing. This is like probably one of my favorites. So I see Shamika said, will you be operating on a dual license in both states, or are you gonna just focus kind of one and then leverage the other?
I'm hoping to concentrate more in Florida and
Okay.
then just kind of leverage Ohio is the goal. And I think we have a little bit of figuring out to do and see how it all
Yeah.
kind of falls into place. So I'm actually doing Kathy's team building class right now through Glover U.
No,
So
that's
we're
cool.
really honing in on our mission, vision, core values, because that's what's going to set the foundation for our team that we're building, and then also create our culture within the team.
That's perfect. And I see, Kim, you added the gloveru.com 76 hard as a link for some of the people on here. So thank you for that. Is there any other? Oh, go ahead.
It started already, the 76 hard. They're on their second session this year.
Okay.
My thought is the next session will be starting in February.
Okay. Perfect. So stay
After
tuned to
the
that and check out
summit.
Glover U if you guys, because you said they provide scripts and things to help out some of the agents out there. I'll leave it open for another couple of minutes to see if there's any other questions. But Lauren, oh my goodness, thank you so much.
Thank you for
So
having me. This is fun.
yeah, it's cool, right? Yeah, we do this every Friday. So guys, if there's no other questions, now's your chance. But if you have any referrals or anyone that is going to the Cleveland, or you said Naples, Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
Southwest Florida. Yep.
Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
Let Lauren know. Is there a way that we can put your contact information in the chat here? Okay, perfect. We'll go ahead and have you do that. I'm sure. Yeah, because I'm sure some of the agents here might want to reach out, because you never know. And guys, you're gonna want to network with her, because you never know who she has coming to South Bay, Los Angeles. So there it is. So
Yes.
Lauren at the laurenbakergroup.com with her phone number. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if there's no other questions, thank you for coming on and watching this amazing realtor doing amazing things, staying positive, optimistic, setting a standard, building a business, being entrepreneurial, and going above and beyond to, have a happy work-life balance without stressing out too much. I mean, Lauren, you are amazing and you have spread so much good stuff on here that I'm even going to go back and take some notes. That was
Sounds
awesome.
good. Thank you,
So,
guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
yeah, no, thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Kick butt and keep me posted on this 76 hard and how that's going. Because this is what, your second time doing it?
So I actually opted out of this time
Oh, okay.
because of the move and everything.
Right.
And Kathy and I have created our own mini 76 hard. So I have just daily activities that I have to do.
That's
In
cool.
fact, I'm going back and re-listening to SLS, which is Jeff's, it's a virtual, you can actually do it virtually. And then he also does it, I believe, around the country. Um, so if you wanted Jeff in your market center, you could
Yeah.
definitely reach out to Taylor and then see if you could get Jeff in, but it's a 6-week program that he also offers. And then there's the virtual version, which is what I have right now. So I
Yeah.
just go back and re-listen. I mean, it's back to like the basics. But it's amazing and it's
Yeah.
good stuff. I mean, it's down to your schedule, down to what your unreal life looks like. Why are you doing this? To hybrid farming, expireds for sale by owners, social media, what to post, when to post it, how to do a video, how to create content. What's the formula for social media? It's all in there. It's
It's
basically an entire blueprint to be successful in real estate.
I love that. Whether it's Clever U, whether it's Ignite, whether it's using the tools in the MREA, I love that. A lot of agents, I've taught 3 Ignite sessions so far, in our Ignite session, and one of the things that I say is, like for some of these top agents, they're doing these activities, and then you can kind of see sometimes that. Even when I say it's like some people are like, there's no way people are doing this on the daily, every single day, year after year. And it's like, you're a prime example. You do. And it's showing the results of how successful you've been. And the fact that you go through this uncomfortable boot camp, which when I say uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable for most because it's supposed to put you in a, environment where it takes you outside of your comfort zone to succeed. You're like, well, I'm opting out this time, but I'm creating a little mini one because I still want to be able to do those activities even whether I'm transitioning to a move or once you settle down, you're probably going to do the one in February, I'm sure, just because you
Mhm.
want to continue to hone your skills. And guys, when it comes down to your business, right, it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for a year, 10 years, 20 years. The fact of the matter is you still got to go down to the basics and focus on what's going to make you uncomfortable because that's what's going to lead to success. And if you can see just by the expressions on Lauren's face, she's having a blast doing it because she likes getting outside of her comfort zone and doing what's going to be best for ultimately her business and her clients. And, you know, she has fun doing it. She geeks
Confidence
out with it
level.
like I do. So it's
It's the
amazing.
confidence level too. Just even going on an
Yeah.
appointment, you're like, okay, I know what to say,
Yeah.
or I know what questions to ask to really hone in on their motivation to genuinely figure out if this is right for them.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's been such a huge factor in it as well.
That's really awesome. Well, Lauren, you are truly amazing. Thank you so much. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, realtors of all kinds, if you have any questions for Lauren, you can go ahead and email her. Her email's on the chat. And Lauren, thank you tremendously for taking the time out of your busy day. I know you're probably going to go back and, keep lead generating.
I
And
am.
get
Yeah,
more
I do.
business.
My son had a
Yeah.
migraine this morning, threw my whole
Yeah.
morning off. So, yeah.
Well, I'll let you get back to that. Thank you so much. And then what we'll do is when we're done recording, I'll send you the link and you can pass that along. So thank you so much for your time and thank
Awesome.
you for everyone who took the time to come witness this amazing agent, spit some really good knowledge. So with that being said, you guys, happy Friday.
Yeah.
Make it a great day and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye.